Okay, let's get started. It's the point of view mini stories for the nudist lesson. Are you ready? First, we're going to go back to the past, last week. Last week, Sarah longed for a fella named Bobby. She loved him deeply. But Bobby lived in Norway, and Sarah lived in San Francisco. Sarah thought about Bobby every day and felt unsettled. Finally, she decided she must see him to be happy. She flew to Norway to retrieve him and bring him back to San Francisco. She spotted him at a beach. She wanted to run to him, but she hesitated because he was in the buff. She was shocked and startled because he was with a beautiful, busty woman who was also in the buff. Sarah started to cry. Then she ran away. She returned to San Francisco just yesterday. Sarah and Bobby never crossed paths again. All right, very nice. Let's do another one now. We're going to start with since middle school. Since middle school for version number 2. Since middle school, Sarah has longed for a fella named Bobby. She has loved him deeply all that time since middle school until now. But Bobby has lived in Norway for 10 years, and Sarah has lived in San Francisco. Every day, Sarah has thought about Bobby and has felt unsettled. Well, finally one day, she decided she must see him to be happy. So she flew to Norway to retrieve him and bring him back to San Francisco. She spotted him at a beach one day. She wanted to run to him, but she hesitated because he was in the buff. She was shocked and startled because he was with a beautiful, busty woman who was also in the buff. Sarah started to cry. Then she ran away. She returned to San Francisco. Sarah and Bobby never crossed paths again. Okay, as always, you can see this happens a lot when we start with since middle school, since 1 year ago. Often we have to switch to the past tense again when we talk about a specific event, right? Specific events usually start, they happen, and then they stop. It's all finished in the past. When we talk about, one day or 1 week or one time, well, that tells you, time to use the past. But if we say since middle school, since 2006, until 5 years ago, well, then that tells us, maybe we better start using have gone, or has gone, or had gone. Okay, third version. Let's go to the future. Into the future. Into the future. Next year, here's my idea for a story. It's a story that will happen next year. There will be a woman named Sarah. Sarah will long for a fella named Bobby. She'll love him deeply. But Bobby will live in Norway, and Sarah will live in San Francisco. Every day, Sarah will think about Bobby, and she'll feel unsettled. Finally, she'll decide she must see him to be happy. She'll fly to Norway to retrieve him and bring him back to San Francisco. She'll spot him at a beach. She'll want to run to him, but she'll hesitate because he'll be in the buff. She'll be shocked and startled because he'll also be with a beautiful, busty woman who'll be in the buff. Sarah'll start to cry. Then she'll run away. She'll return to San Francisco. Sarah and Bobby will never cross paths again. All right, those are our 3 versions. Please listen to them many times. When you understand them, when you know them well, pause after each version and tell all of the story yourself. Tell it starting with last week or last year or 10 years ago. That's version 1. And then tell it again starting with since middle school or since high school or since 2002. That's version number 2. And then tell it again in the future, next year, in the year 2010, or next month. Okay? Practice all 3 versions, and that's all.